sit down bestie. We are finally doing the video on the family that wants to be the new ChrisChan, like ChrisChan 2.0, who ironically, one of their family members is actually friends with ChrisChan's cousin Danny. Cause why not? Yeah, so first, here, take your emotional support, Dumbo. Your little squishy, hold him tight. We're going to take multiple breaks in this video for you to get more emotional support ones because it just keeps getting worse. So you're going to need a lot of emotional support toys for this. So quick rundown, if you've not seen my TikTok on this or my other video, now go back to the other video I have posted about growing up with ChrisChan's cousins, two of them, one of them mainly being Danny being the, like, I've told plenty of story times on Danny. So it gets worse though, because after I posted that story time, I had a GameStop manager in that area. Well, he's not anymore. I found out he's now working as a CO, but he'd worked there for a really long time, and he had, of course, encountered Danny, which everybody, if you're in the nerd scene in that area, it's a small town, you're going to encounter that crazy person. But he had to ban Danny's friend, right? You know, ChrisChan's cousin's friend, for the most insane behavior. I posted about that, and then I had 3 more people from this town reach out to me and be like, hey, so I got some crazy stories about that guy too. I actually met this person twice growing up. They were friends with my ex, and I thought they were really weird and stuff was really creepy then, but I didn't realize just how deeply it went until people started reaching out to me from my hometown being like, hey, so let's talk about J-Dog. J-Dog is the nickname we've given him because we're not going to give his actual name, but his fursona, because he is a furry, his fursona is a dog, and his first name starts with J. So we're just going to call him J-Dog for this story. So I'm going to go over the 2 times I met this family, and then I will go over into the follower submissions from this family. About this family. So like I said, you can go back to the first video, explain who Danny is. Danny is ChrisChan's cousin. Also, once again, I am not related to ChrisChan, even though Danny likes to go around and tell people we're cousins. We're not. Me and him are not cousins. We just had the same last name for a little while. Chill. Completely different family. Oh God, I don't like even thinking about that. So my 2 interactions with J-Dog and their family, because they have, in this household, it's J-Dog, his wife, which, big shocker that this plob has a wife, because this is like, this man really is one of those Discord mod, thinks that's a full-time job. Yeah. Has his wife, his mom, and his little brother in the house. Now, my boyfriend at the time, which thank God we're not anymore, because takes me over. He'd known them for a while. I did think it was a little weird because J-Dog was like 5 or 6 years older than my boyfriend at the time, and we were teenagers when I met this guy. So like, it was weird that he was hanging out with an adult so much, but I was actually helping the boyfriend like go places in life. I helped him get into a career center. I helped him get education, get a job and all that. But then he had this friend who he was like, you gotta meet him, because he's always telling me that it's better just to sit at home, and don't worry, there's ways to make money without having to work, and he gets to play video games all day. Now, coming from a 16-year-old, it's not that bad to hear a 16-year-old be like, I want to play video games all day and never have to work. But when it's a grown adult encouraging teenagers and all of their friends around them to not work because there's ways to scam the system, basically, so you can just play video games all day, yeah, that's a problem. Also, important note, yes, he was a brony. I got to see the brony collection. I'm scared to know how big it is now. So the reason why they're all in this house, though, and they're able to just, like, not work and play video games all day, which I will admit the wife worked at Wendy's at one point. Why is it always Wendy's? It's always Wendy's for some reason. But the rest of them did not work. They played video games all day. They had for years. I know the mom had a job prior, but the other 2 had never had a job, the J-Dog and his brother. And they really... They thought they were like God's gift to earth too. Like when it came to video games, they thought they were their best ever. And they were especially obsessed with Halo. This is back when like Halo 3 was really big and stuff too. Big bronies, big Magic Gathering, D&D, all of that. And that's all they would do all day. They stunk to high hell. I remember he kept bugging me. He's like, oh, you got to go meet my friend. He says that I don't need to work. He just says that school is a waste of time. Look, he's got a nice house that he lives in with his mom and stuff. You got to go meet him. That was a mistake. I go meet this guy. I meet J-Dog and his family, and immediately, you could smell the second you walk into the house. You smell it the second you would walk in the house. And I'm thinking maybe the mother's like disabled or something. Like maybe there's a reason she's letting her kids turn out this way, because typical incel, the woe is me. I know the brother was always like, oh, I can't get a girlfriend because women only care about rich looks and blah, blah, blah. It's women's fault that I'm going to die a virgin, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's because you don't shower and you play video games all day instead of working or doing anything productive in your life, right? I know his brother at one point was also trying to basically do disability fraud and like apply for that kind of stuff. The whole house stunk, right? Whole house stunk. I know the wife did a little bit of cleaning, like when she lived there. I'm gonna explain how he ended up getting a wife too, because that shit is wild to hear somebody like this has a wife. Well, sorry, my dog dropped something. So the reason they're all able to live here, they proudly told me about this too. This wasn't even like a secret. Like my ex brings me over to this house to introduce me to this friend that's claiming that he never needs to work and he shouldn't be going to school and stuff, showing me his life proudly and talking about how they have this money. They had this money from two different situations. One was they had a lawsuit. They'd like done this frivolous lawsuit suing somebody, like somebody had fallen in a store and stuff. They literally, which is like, what the fuck? Am I on King of the Hill right now? Like, is this the one guy from King of the Hill? Because that's what it felt like. It very much felt like that. I'm like, damn, maybe you should sue King of the Hill because I clearly wrote that character about your ass. But the second one is the most disturbing one, and that is the mother is a paid surrogate for men who traditionally cannot adopt. She would go out and basically get pregnant for the highest bidder. One I remember was the school professor, and he like, I can't remember exactly what happened. Like he could not get kids. He doesn't have a wife or anything like that. So he paid her like $800,000. Another one was a felon who had a touchy related charge, that kind, which is why he couldn't adopt traditionally. He also, single older man that paid her a lot of money to be their surrogate. It's basically human trafficking. You cannot convince me that's not human trafficking. I know it's technically legal, like, and they had the paperwork and all that stuff and lawyers involved to do the surrogate stuff, but it's still, that shit is human trafficking. You cannot convince me otherwise. But I remember her showing me, like, the booklet with, like, all her legal stuff and, like, getting excited telling me this, and I'm sitting here trying to just focus on not passing out from the stank that this house is, and with those, all of them in the other room, like, playing video games and stuff. And she's just like showing me this book and being like, oh yeah, and this guy paid me this much. You should really get into this. Like she's trying to convince me to be a paid surrogate for single guys that can't adopt because she's like, yeah, you won't have to work. You can just be pregnant, pop out the baby, and then go sell it to this guy. Like you'll have an agreement. She's like, I can help you find guys and everything. What the fuck? Like this, I am like 16. And she's trying to convince me to, like, do what her family's done, which is drop out of school and play video games all day while living off of money they got from surrogacy and a random frivolous lawsuit. But, like, I'm not selling a baby, lady. What the fuck is wrong with you? I met them one other time past that. My ex had taken me back for another thing. He was like, oh, please give them another chance. They weren't that bad. Because I was like, dude, no, they really are that bad. The fuck you mean they're not that bad? Hold on, let me give you another support animal because that was a rough section. Here's another Squishmallow support animal you can take. Go ahead and take that because it's going to just keep getting worse from here somehow because I haven't even got to the follower submissions yet. So second time I meet these people, he's like ranting and she is ranting and raving about how like she's so in love with her man, even though he's treating her like crap. He was like treating her like a house slave basically, being like, oh, go get this for me, go get that, because he wouldn't get up from his gaming chair. And she's like, yeah, but no other men loved me because I'm plus size, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I'm like, girl, you're not, I mean, yeah, you're plus size, but that doesn't, you're, like, pretty. Like, why are you here with this man? And then she went into an entire femcel rant about, like, getting kicked out, like, how he had gotten kicked out of Brony, like, a local Bronies club and a local Furries club. Like, the local Furries didn't want anything to do with him because he was a mock suitor, a mersuitor. If you don't know what a mersuitor is, so Furries are like the people that dress up in the animal costumes and like to pretend to be animal, they'll either pretend or it's their persona or it's, they're just dressing up. Like Kevin Gates and the lead singer of ICP, both, Violent J, is it Violent J? Yeah, Violent J, both are the ones that have like fursuits with their kids, right? That's regular fursuiting. But there's something called mersuiting, which is where the guy had a zipper from here all the way down, right? So that he could unzip it and have sex in the fursuits. That's the short version. They were having sex. That's what a mersuitor is. People that have sex in the fursuits. And he kept trying to get other regular furries that don't do that to do that with him. This is one of the follower submissions I got. Too. We're gonna do that in a second. But the wife was complaining about how her husband had been kicked from these fursuit things because other furries should be more open and accepting. Blah blah. No, you're literally being a creep and trying to convince people who don't do that to do that with you. You're trying to force your kink of your mersuiting onto other people, and these people are like, no, we don't want to do that. Stop being fucking weird. So after that disturbing interaction where I sat there for hours listening to this crap, I also listened to the one guy complain because he was like going over his monthly budget because they'd like set it up into budgets and stuff. He's going over his monthly budget because he wanted to buy this lolly hentai character, which, yes, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a child. It is a child anime character that these guys sexualize that are drawn like 7 and 8 year olds, but then they'll be like, oh, but technically they're 400 years old, so it's okay to sexualize them because they're technically 400 years old. They have a body of a body of a child. Either way, not fucking cool. I had to listen to so much shit from this family. Finally, it's time to leave. And I leave, and I get in the car with my ex, and I'm like, bitch, never again do I want to be around this family. How do you not see how, like, horrible these people are, right? Because he, like, would always be like, oh, yeah, but that's my buddy. Like, he gets to play video games all day and stay home instead of having to work or go to school like I do. Like, you should not be looking up to these people, right? Fucking Christ, man. So we go back, and I don't hear about them for a while. But then it's like a few months later, he brings them up because there's a situation with the mom who is once again about to do the surrogate thing again because they wanted more money because they have been going to like conventions and Magic Gathering tournaments and like all of this stuff. And they wanted to go on this trip to Japan. So they were like, oh, let's do another paid surrogacy, basically human trafficking. Okay, you cannot convince, I don't care that it's legal. That is fucking human trafficking when you're purposely getting the baby to whoever the highest bidder is. Okay, so they had found a guy and he actually wanted to have like 2 kids. And then he's like, hey, so I know you said you don't want to do this, but like J-Dog's mom's doing it again. You should like get in on this because, you know, you like it'd be a great opportunity. You could make all this money. And I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. So after that, never had an interaction with this family again. Never thought I was going to have to interact or even think about this family again until I posted the video about growing up with Danny Chandler, ChrisChan's freaking cousin. And then all of a sudden, the follower submissions came in. So let's get into them. The first one, if you might want to scroll real fast if you've already seen this on TikTok, what ended up happening is he went in with Danny and they traded in a bunch of games. And the guy was constantly, J-Dog was always going in there and would constantly go in with Danny too, is like how this manager knew they were friends. Constantly was going into this GameStop and was like being an elitist, always, oh, I'm so much better. That's why I don't let my wife play certain games because men are so much better and I'm better than anybody else. And the only time I lose is if there's a glitch on the system or something, or somebody must be cheating. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's what it is. That's what it is, buddy. Everybody that loses against you must magically be cheating. Yeah, sure. Typical incel BS, right? But this one day, the GameStop manager is working, and J-Dog and Danny come in, and they turn in a bunch of games to trade, right? Like, trade in. And if you know anything about GameStop, they offer you crap. And most of these, like, elitist incels and stuff, neckbeard plobs, whatever we're calling them, don't, like, they'll argue with you. They'll argue with you, even though the GameStop employee has no control over it. They'll argue with you. You'll be like, this game is worth more. But for some reason, he was just like, oh, yeah, I'll accept it. Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept whatever you're giving to me. So, of course, the GameStop employee is a little suspicious, but they didn't have a system. I mean, they might now, but at least when I did work there, we didn't have a fucking system to check the disc. As long as it looked like the right disc, it didn't be scratched or anything like that, and it was in good condition, like, it should be fine, right? Which was another thing that if I had been there, I would have pointed this out because their house was disgusting. So another red flag, other than, like, him just accepting the offer, was the fact that these games were in, like, pristine condition, right? So he trades them in. And a few weeks later, because they put him right back on the shelf, right? The poor manager gets a call from a mom being pissed. It's a mother that had bought it. This is a woman that had bought it. Luckily, her kids did not play this game. But it was a mother that had bought it. And this pisses me off so bad. There was hentai on it. There was hentai on these games. They sent it, the woman brings it in. She freaking comes in to the GameStop, turns in the game. They pull all the games. They have to look up in the system trying to figure out what games J-Dog had turned in because they had found out that was from J-Dog. I'm not sure the whole process with that, but they found out, yes, it was one of the ones he turned in. They pull all the games up. They end up sending them up to corporate. Yes, they're all fucking hentai. I still cannot, like, I know a couple engineers explain how they can, like, laser it on and stuff like that with, like, blank disc and then do a copy to make it look like it's a real disc, but it still pisses me off, like, that somebody went to that extreme to just, like, force hentai on a bunch of random, because once again, what if a child had gotten it? What if it hadn't been a grown adult? What if it had been a child that had gotten that disc and just started playing and it was fucking lolly hentai porn? He was then banned from the GameStop, of course. They banned him from the GameStop, which is so crazy, because that's one of the hardest things to do is to get banned from GameStop. It's not like a regular game store we can ban you for hygiene. GameStop, we can't. Like, it's hard for us to get to ban somebody, so the fact that they, like, banned his ass, it pisses me off they didn't call the cops either, because that shit's illegal too. That shit's illegal. There was multiple things illegal about that, not just the fraud, but like the freaking distributing all that stuff too. No, that should have been illegal. It doesn't matter those anime figures and hentai and stuff. Those are still, no, that's fucking nasty. Before we get into the next section, I'm going to give you another emotional support. Here, little baby Stitch to hold, because the other 3 follower submission stories I've gotten about this sicko are even worse somehow. Let's just jump into it. So sorry, I'm cold. So the other follower submission I got about this guy from the hometown was one of the ones from the furry group about the suiting again, remember? Apparently he had gotten kicked out of like a local group, so they were driving like 3 hours up to like the Clarksburg group. There's like a Clarksburg furry group that was going on there. They did not know about his bad behavior in the beginning, and they fell for the manipulation because he's also one of those, oh, woe is me, pick me, oh my gosh, I'm nice guys finish last. It's definitely not because I don't bathe and I'm a fucking weirdo and nasty ass. It's definitely because I'm a nice guy. That's why, blah, blah, blah. It was telling them, gave them this whole sob story about how his old furry group kicked him out because of the type of persona that he had, and that they didn't like his animal because they didn't accept dog personas. Yeah, that's not why they kicked him out. It was because of the mersuiting and him like sexually harassing other furries. So this group, I said this follower submitted. This follower is a furry that is part of that group up there. And they came, he said, yeah, he had this whole sob story and we felt bad for him. So we let him in. We were inviting him to events and stuff. And then he started sexually harassing all of the females, like all of the women. He said he started sexually harassing, like J-Dog started sexually harassing all of the women, trying to convince them to do the fucking the furry suits. Okay, that's what it's called. They were fucking in the furries. He was trying to get other furries to fuck him in the furry suit. And they didn't want to have anything to do with it because they were just regular furries. And he was even going around showing the male furries that he was like hanging out with in the group. He would like show them really disturbing hentai, like animal hentai and stuff that they didn't want to see and be like, oh, isn't this so cool? The final straw, though, which I feel like the final straw should be a lot earlier. I'm a little disappointed they didn't kick him out when he was just sexually harassing people. But the follower that submitted said their final straw was when he sent one of the other guys who was a dog persona, like another dog persona person, he sent him actual bestiality pictures. Like pictures of women fucking German Shepherds specifically. The guy said he remembers the German Shepherd part specifically because he said he's never been able to look at a German Shepherd the same after he found out about this, because the guy that J-Dog sent these nasty bestiality photos to was like showed him what was going on so that the guy could confront him and be like, yo, you're getting kicked out. I hate that so like that innocent fucking dog. The innocent fucking dogs that these people do these sick, disgusting things with. And all the women that this guy was sexually harassing too. Like, why are there people out there like this? Oh, God. Just fucking, Sorry, I had to take a rage break because I was getting frustrated. Okay, so let's get through the last 2 freaking follower submissions about this dude. So I don't know if maybe the money was running up or he just needed extra money for something else, like the surrogacy situation where they wanted to go to a con or something, or where they wanted to go to Japan. But the other one was from a store employee that caught him trying to fucking slip and fall, and his brother too. His brother was in on it. So over the span of 2 weeks, he works at we're going to just call it a pharmacy store because I don't want to get him in trouble because he said he's worked there for like 15 years and still works there. But J-Dog and his little brother come into, which they're both grown adults, by the way. These are both grown adults. I know I say, like, when you say little brother, you think it's like child, but no, these are both grown adults. We're coming into this guy's work and purposely spilling stuff and trying to fall so that they could get more money. And they would have someone, they said it was some lady with him. She said, the worker said he doesn't know if it was like the wife or not, because he said she just had dark hair and was a bigger girl, which could be the wife because she is, but like it also might not be. Anyways, they would always have somebody standing around the corner recording on their phone, and then when they start recording after they knock something down, record on their phone, and we're just like purposely falling in the store. And then their brother did it too when they got kicked out. So the whole family basically ended up getting banned because fucking scammers. Why are you also scamming? How are you just worse and worse every minute? Here's your final squishmallow for the final stretch of this disturbing plob story. So, ChrisChan 2.0 family, that's what we're going to call them. Because the fact that they're literally friends with one of ChrisChan's relatives blows my fucking mind. Like, I guess birds of a feather flock together, right? So last follower submission story that I got about this family was from somebody who went to high school with J-Dog, used to regularly like try to play Magic Gathering and D&D and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and all that stuff with this guy, and finally had to stop because he stunk so bad. And get this shit. So not only did he not shower, now pheromone maxing wasn't a thing back then, like it didn't have a name for it, and people still were being gross, but J-Dog admitted to this guy that he was only showering like once a month. Why? Why? You have a nice house. I've been there. I saw. You have a house. You have water. You're running water. Why are you not showering, dude? Anyways, the guys said that J-Dog constantly told him that it was not necessary, and he was hoping that he would, like, grow out of it as an adult. So when he saw the stories from other followers that had submitted to me, he was, like, disgusted that he never grew out of it, but also wasn't too shocked either is what the guy said. He said he was constantly reeking. He would have, like, nastiness on his clothes and stuff, but the thing that got him the most was the guy admitted he didn't wipe his ass. Bestie, I want you to guess what J-Dog's excuse for not wiping his ass was, because it's an excuse we've heard many times from these nasty plop, neck, beard, incels. Guess what it was? It was that it would make him gay. He thought if he wiped his ass because it was touching his butt, it was going to make him gay. So that's why he didn't wipe his ass. And he just rinsed it off in the shower. Why are so many like this? Who told these fucking incel neckbeard sickos that was a thing? Because I'm fucking freezing in here. Anyways, so many of them are doing this. So many. How many fucking... I have so many comments on my TikTok of people talking about this because they're like, yeah, it's a whole thing where all of these guys think that if they wipe their butt or wash their ass, it makes them... it makes them gay. That's not how being gay works. Sorry, I had to take my own break because I was getting so fucking frustrated. We had to have another rage break. Okay, instead of rage bait, it's rage break from these fucking idiots. I want to know what goes through their mind. What goes through their mind. It's bad. The My Little Pony addiction stuff is bad enough. The fucking, like, lolicon is bad enough. The fucking fake discs to force people to accidentally watch hentai was bad enough. The mersuiters, the sexual harassment, the bestiality, it just kept getting worse. How does it keep getting? When does it end? When does it end? When does it fucking end? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get this crap to end? Because they just progress worse. And once again, a lot of this is on the parents. Like, the fact that this mother was just sitting there and condoning this bad behavior and acting like it was a good thing. Like, she was so excited to show me her little book of, like, all of her experience with being a paid surrogate so that they didn't have to work. That's insane. This happened when I was 16, and I remember she said she had that kid, like, 3 years before. So that kid be, like, 17 or so now? Like, I am really worried. I want to know where that kid went. So, like, I really do. I want to know how that child's life turned out that she sold and how the other one went, too. I do remember specifically the one with the felony and stuff that had touchy charges is why he couldn't traditionally adopt. I remember he was... Wisconsin. I can't remember where in Wisconsin, but he was in Wisconsin. So I really hope that turned out good. If I never hear from those people, like, I'm just going to sit here and, like, pretend like they have a magical happy life and they did not get stuck in a horrible situation just because some plob mom piece of shit wanted to sit there and fucking make money off of paid surrogacy instead of getting a job. So, like, I'm really praying that those kids are okay. I still have people sending in follower submissions, and I greatly appreciate, like, I'm going to keep doing the story times on TikTok and then getting them put on here too, the full versions of them, but, like, it fucks with me so bad to think about those kids, and, like, the fact that all it was took one post for multiple people to be like, no, we've interacted with this dude too, like, fucking Danny Chandler, fucking ChrisChan's cousin's bestie over here, J-Dog's just as fucking bad, their family's just as bad, like, I mean, the fact that Danny brags about, like, ChrisChan, and I'll never forget ChrisChan when they blew up, because Danny was like, oh, my cousin's famous, and it was like, dude, that's not for a good thing. So, like, the fact that this family sees nothing wrong with what they're doing, jail. They just all need to be in prison. I mean, you can say that's harsh, but that's my feelings on it. I almost want to know more people's story about J-Dog, like, those who are in my small hometown of West Virginia, like, I almost want to know more stories, but I also am afraid to know more stories, because I'm afraid they're just going to get worse. So please hug all of your emotional supports. You have them, cuddle them tight. Try not to rip somebody's head off, because that's kind of what I want to do to these people. But I cannot legally condone violence, okay? Violence is never the answer, okay? Okay, so just hug your squishmallow.